What is going on, guys? This is Michael Williams from Cartoon Universe, and we're back once again with the whole week, or almost whole week, of Star vs. the Forces of Evil episodes. Once again, they're coming in strong with these episodes. These episodes were Princess Turdina and Starfari, and these were really good episodes for both Marco's development and also Star's development. Very curious as to why Marco didn't join Star on that Starfari. I guess she was just kind of in a rush and there was no time. But yeah, I really enjoyed these episodes. Like I said, very good character development. We get a little bit of Miss Heinous action. She's actually kind of just came and went, but at the end we actually do get some very interesting things that are happening. Might be able to do a theory video on that potentially, but I'm just gonna kind of ramble a little bit about those episodes and see if I can come up with any interesting things regarding Miss Heinous, because that was definitely very suspicious. But overall, very good episodes. Marco is basically reliving his glory as Princess Turdina, which I was a little confused at first because I didn't realize that his name was Marco Turdina. I totally forgot about that. It's been a while since I've seen that episode, so I was confused, like, oh, somebody visits. I'm assuming it's Miss Heinous because she's directly related to that whole incident, but Miss Heinous knows him as Princess Marco, but it is actually Princess Marco Turdina. Turdina is the fictional last name of Princess Marco, and he's living in his glory, and he's kind of seeing what they did to St. O's, and St. O's is just an absolute mess. They took it a little too far, which Marco initially was kind of worried about, but he ends up kind of going along with it and understanding the joy that he brought these people, even if they are going a little too overboard with it. And honestly, it was kind of weird because they never really reached that lesson. They never reached that part where they're like, oh, life is about balance. You can't just be partying and eating all the time. You gotta kind of, have some sort of structure and goal. They never really get to that point. I thought that was going to happen, but they just kind of keep living kind of freely, which I guess Marco's trying to preserve their individuality instead of really trying to preach to them about their bad lifestyle choices. So maybe we'll get there later on, but obviously Ponyhead was egging him on the entire time because she's a bad influence. We all know that. And Star was actually trying to help him do the right thing. And eventually he's about to kind of expose himself as a quote-unquote fraud, that he's just a boy, he's not a princess. And surprisingly enough, the princesses of St. O's were actually very welcoming about that. She was like, you know what, so what if Marco's a boy, he can still be a princess if he wants to, which was very open and open-minded, welcome kind of reaction. That was pretty cool. I feel like in a lot of other cartoons, especially like back in the day, that probably wouldn't have happened. So that was a very accepting, progressive, if you will, outlook on the whole situation of Marco not actually being not only a princess, but he's also just not a boy. So he's kind of still the figurehead, and they kind of realize that Princess Turdina is an idea. Miss Heinous invades the entire thing. She tries to expose Marco for what he is, with one chest hair. And she basically gets bodied by the entire school, and she's forced to leave with Gemini. We actually see Rastakor. Rastakor is slowly but surely regenerating. He has a whole torso and 2 arms now. It's not just one big arm, so he is growing. Maybe by the end of the season or by the beginning of season 4, we'll probably see Rastakor in his full form. So that was pretty interesting. But the ending was the most interesting part of this episode, where Miss Heinous is basically draining the energy of, I can't remember her name, the tapier character with the camera phone, saying that all the time, her catchphrase. Miss Heinous is basically draining her energy, and it is giving her cheek marks back, and she seems actually a lot more happy and vibrant than she normally is. And actually, when we see her on stage, when she's trying to expose Marco for a fraud, she does not look good. She looks very unhealthy. So it seems like she's kind of trying to suppress her princess Mewmandom, if that's even a thing, Mewmanity. But she's also kind of addicted to it, so she's kind of trying to get it back through artificial means, and it seems like she can't actually get it back in full. She wants to kind of drain Marco's energy for whatever reason, I guess because she wants revenge. I don't know how well that would work. Obviously, I feel like Star would be a bigger target. But the most interesting thing is they have the same suction cups that, you put on the cheek marks that they were doing for Star when they thought Star might be infected with evil and darkness after she met Eclipsa when they were giving her tests. So it looks like this really is a source of energy for humans. So it looks like I guess Miss Heinous is draining the joy or the happiness out of these characters. She's probably been doing this to more than one person. This doesn't seem like the first time that they did this. So she kidnapped her and basically started draining her joy, her energy, her individuality, whatever it is. But whatever it is, she seems a lot more happy and vibrant. And obviously, the tapir, I can't remember her name. I apologize. She's such a minor character. She's on the ground and she's depressed and she has no energy. She seems like it's been drained. So I don't know if this is a permanent thing or if it's something that goes away. It seems like it goes away from Miss Heinous at the very least. Seems like it's almost like a drug for her. She gets a quick high. But as far as the person that she's draining, I don't know if that's permanent or not, or if it just takes a while to recover. Have absolutely no idea. I don't think we've seen this yet. So it's very interesting. So the cheek marks of the Mewmans are definitely going to come into play at some point. It seems like they're really trying to highlight that. And that's 2 hints right there. So I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. Gemini even offers to, do his fuel. So they call it fuel. So I'm assuming it's not permanent. I don't know if Gemini would offer that or not, but it does seem like Gemini really does care for Miss Heinous. So maybe he would, but apparently Gemini's would not be enough. So she wants to go directly for Marco. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I feel like Miss Heinous' storyline is building more and more. And I feel like we're going to see her connection to the Mewmans very soon. She's been more of a side villain as of late, but I think she's going to start building, and she's probably going to get tied into the rest of the overarching plot at some point. Could be Eclipsa, could be if Toffee returns, it could be something else entirely. I have absolutely no idea, but definitely very interesting stuff. And the next episode is Starfari, and this one's all about racism. Basically, as we predicted, Star is kind of getting fed up with the Mewmans treating monsters a certain way. And we actually see that there's a dude who owns a shop, and he pushes away this monster. He turns him away, said, "You can't shop here. Your kind is not allowed here, boy." And Tom is shopping, minding his own business, and he's about to call him out, but he realizes that Tom is royalty and he's important. And he begs him to not completely burn down the shop. So fed up with all the Mewman racism against monsters, Star completely charges into her mother's study or whatever it is, and she has this cart that is just like a diagram of different realms and stuff like that, and she has different characters, different figures representing different characters. And she's like, okay, I don't understand the difference. And I actually mentioned this before. I was like, me and Haley discussed this, the difference between demons and monsters. Like, what's the difference? Why is Tom okay? And she brings up very interesting points that, the pigeon dude with the legs, he's clearly a monster. She talks about how a big giant goat man like Lekmet is not considered a monster for whatever reason, but lizard people like Rastakor or Toffee are considered monsters. And she kind of goes down the list. Like, what about Ponyhead? Why does she not a monster? She's literally a floating pony unicorn person. It was just a head. And the Queen Moon is just kind of like, oh, well, that's, we've always had a good relationship with them. It's all good. It's all gooch. She starts mentioning Tom and how he's royalty, but like, what's the difference? And she brings up another person. I think it was the pigeon leg guy. And she says, oh, well, he's rich. So obviously there's a lot of double standards right now, and there's not really a clear definition as to what differentiates a monster from a demon or a pony head or whatever. Why are they different? It seems like it's kind of arbitrary, and it's just the way it is, just because. And Star's not having that, so basically Queen Moon sends her off to talk to the monster expert, and she starts off very nice. She seems like she's kind of understanding. She wants to preserve the monster's habitat and all that type of stuff, but obviously it seemed way too good to be true. And I knew this right off the bat. I called it. She's going to turn on them in some way, shape, or form. So, they go on this Starfari. They're traveling different areas, all of which have names that relate to death. She's in a monster suit. She has monster musk on, and they study the monsters' inhabitants. And basically, the Buff Frog is there. For whatever reason, he has a detector, which the monster expert put on him, which was never there before, and it wasn't there afterwards. So I don't know. It's just a gag, whatever. Not a big deal. The canon there is not very important. But she basically treats the monsters like animals. She describes them and their lifestyle very animal-esque, and Star's like, no, that's not right. Right? I guess it's kind of a step up, but That's not what they are. They're not any type of animal. So she basically wants to flood the entire place, make it an island so they can go nowhere near Mewmans because it's bad for them to interact with Mewmans. And long story short, she learns that that's not the case because she almost completely destroys the dam. She meets Buff Frog. They have a good conversation. She realizes that they're basically people. And before the whole entire water has a chance to flood the entire place, they all work together. Star works together, doing some really sick moves with their wand as they try to make a barricade to block the water from completely destroying their civilization. And the monster expert tries to help, and she helps. And she obviously takes things to the extreme because now she just feels like Mewmans just have to behave like monsters. So now she thinks she's a monster. She pretends to be a monster, and now she's, I guess, gonna live among the monsters. So the big thing here, obviously, is that Star kind of learns that the rules against the monsters are pretty arbitrary, which she already kind of had a feeling about. And obviously, this is gonna tie back into the whole Eclipsa trial. She's probably gonna use some of this evidence against whatever argument is gonna be used against Eclipsa, and she makes Buff Frog the expert of monsters. He is now the expert of monsters. So Star's just kind of going rogue again, rogue princess, doing what she wants. She's got a squire in Marco, and now she made a monster the expert of monsters. And that's basically where the episode ends off. So I'm very excited to see Queen Moon and the rest of the Mewmans' reaction to having an actual monster be the expert of monsters. The Mewmans do not take kindly to the monsters, so a lot of interesting dialogue happening. And if he's the expert of monsters, that means he might very well be involved with the trial of Eclipsa in some way. He might just be looking as a bystander, and things are going to get really tense really fast. We only have 3 days left of the Star Marathon. I don't know what's going to happen after that, but I would assume it's going to get pretty crazy. But that's all for these episodes. Like I said, really great episodes, and they all seem like they're leading into some big stuff, so I absolutely can't wait to see. But what did you guys think? What do you think Miss Heinous is doing? Is she draining the joy from these people? How is this all going to come together with the Mewmans? Clearly she's Mewman. And what do you think the connection of the cheekmark energy is? And also, what do you think is going to happen with Buff Frog now that he is the expert of monsters? That's a pretty big thing. And how is it going to tie into Eclipse? So let us know in the comments down below. Would love to hear what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we're doing the rest of these episode reviews as they air. This one's going up a little bit late. This is yesterday's episode, but we're gonna do another one today for today's episode. So be on the lookout for that and the other ones to come the rest of the week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Michael Williams. You've been watching Cartoon Universe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.